It looks like we have everybody moseying on in, and I am so glad to see everybody this morning. It is 11 o'clock a.m. in Phoenix time and 8 o'clock at night in South Africa, right, Matt?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to week 5, importing silo themes into WordPress. And if I could just get a 1, if everybody can hear me and Matt, and get your fingers working. Hi, Neil. Hello, Bill. Hello, Lionel. Looks like we have people still coming into the webinar, so we'll stall a little bit. Maybe I should play Guns N' Roses or some loud rock and roll while we're waiting, or maybe not. How many people were able to finish their homework for last week and are ready to move on for importing silo themes into WordPress? Give me a 1 if you're all caught up. Okay. Excellent. Let's just give it a little bit of a minute. If you guys could, each one of you, if you could, we're still waiting for like about 3 more people. Could you just type in where you live? It doesn't have to be the exact address, just what city you live in. Just so I know, I want to get to know you guys a little bit better. Hi, Bill. Bill Cox is asking me, is it storming in Phoenix? No, actually, it is incredibly sunny outside. In fact, I can share my, no, actually my camera's pointing the wrong direction. We don't have the bandwidth really. Matt's hogging all the bandwidth in South Africa. Just kidding, Matt.
That's that black hole in the back of your office, Russ.
There's Tim. Tim is from Springfield. Hey, thanks. I did not know that. I know Springfield. Santa Rosa, California. Bill, it's funny how when you have digital names for everybody, I may not have met you in person, some of you I have, you kind of have this, it's funny how the brain sort of places you somewhere in the world, at least I do for some unknown reason. I did not have you placed on the West Coast, and now I do. Tim is in Springfield. Oh, okay, Neil is commutes between Atlanta and Boca Raton. You're down in the Louisiana way. Interesting. So you drive to work in Atlanta, Neil, and then you live in Boca? Other way around. Okay.
Other way.
Huh. Interesting. I lived in Maggie Valley, North Carolina, and I would drive over to Atlanta. And so I know that area pretty well, although I didn't get, and now of course my military training was in Pensacola, Florida, my A school, my electronics and cryptology coding school. I was right there in Pensacola. You know where that is? It's not that far. We used to go down to New Orleans to to party. All right. Okay, it looks like we're really filling up. Those of you who just came in the call, I was trying to find out where in the world you live so we can start placing locations to the name. Oh yeah, Neil said that one of his buddies graduated from flight school. That would have been NAS Corey Station, right, Neil? That's where I was stationed and got my cryptology degree. We had to John Nash our way through encryption codes for 8 weeks straight, and we were boot camped and underfed and overworked. Our brains were overworked. Did you know that NAS Corey Station is gone, Neil? That is no longer a training center, or at least, the Blue Angels were stationed there. It's either gone or else the Pensacola Corey Station might be gone. I think they closed that one. Cutbacks, I tell you. All right, you guys. So everybody is here now. Thank you very much for sharing that information. We had an amazing level 2 certification course yesterday where we talked about the advanced one feed. You guys are getting a lot of prep for that. Some of you are double auditing those courses. Today, Matt is going to get into week 5, importing silo themes into WordPress. And I do have to begin this webinar just with a general zero tolerance policy. In order to protect your digital investment and our proprietary information, we are actively working with the FBI and various internet ISPs to collect financial compensation from digital thieves. Kevin Pauly heads up this department and has shocked the crap out of me on his ability to do so. I did not realize that our semantic web expert also was a digital theft expert. And we do this to protect your information. Our certification models and our way of looking at the online world is becoming extremely popular and starting to work its way through industry epimemes. And as a result, we are creating sustainable systems for you that are very likely to last the next decade because of the way that we think. As a result, the information needs to be protected, and we protect it for you. And obviously, because this information sets you guys apart, both as professional SEO, traffic generators, and online broadcasting experts, I want to make sure that it doesn't get put out there in black hat forums and so on and so forth. First of all, they wouldn't know what to do with it. Second of all, it's your digital information. So thank you very much for letting me do that disclaimer, you guys. Matt, what is the main thing that people are going to walk away with today in this event?
Yeah, today I want to just catch the guys, clarify how to knock their sites out really fast, and then basically speak about bringing in the next silo. But I also want to do like a litmus test and see how far the guys actually are, and if they are stuck, what they're stuck on, and try and address those bottlenecks so that we can get them moving forward.
And Matt, how's the coaching program been going? You have tons of testimonials. I'm astounded by how many people just say my time with Matt is amazing, and now these light bulb moments. You know what I mean? How's that going for you? Like, what's going on with all your coaching?
Yeah, it's been good. For me, for a personal point of view, it's helped me a lot with the new version of Network Empire Builder that we're busy scoping out. I think the way we're going to position that tool is going to be totally different. It's because of all the coaching I've done with the guys.
Yep.
I've gotten to see from their perspective where they're getting stuck, and then that's helped me sort of figure out where we can make things easier. From the guys' point of view, the guys get to speak to, we have some really good calls, and I think in this session, a few of the guys have said that I've given them a different perspective of how to look at what they're doing. They've sort of been taking the wrong approaches, not thought about what you've taught them, and everything's sort of coming together. So this is why this image I have up now, I just want to do a quick little walkthrough of the journey we've had so far in these last 4 weeks. So in week 5, we can start seeing the repetition where we start bolting on silos onto the actual site.
Got it. Okay. Looks like everybody's here, Matt. So I'm going to go ahead and mute, and I'll only step in if we have questions. If you get rolling that I can't answer, and I'll defer them to you. Thanks, guys.
Okay. No worries. How's it going, guys? Can you give me one if you can hear me clearly? Just a quick audio test. Okay, awesome. Okay, guys, so what I've got up here is the actual process that we're going through for developing out the WR1 and WRS1. Can you guys read what's on my screen? If you can't, I'm going to put this link into the actual window so you can look in the chat window and you can open up on your local machine. And this is just where we are now. You can see on the red dots we're here, and what I want to quickly do is just walk us through the journey we followed. Okay, so in week 1, we started off with a document, what they call we selling, and that's where we actually took our product we thought we were going to sell, whether it was an affiliate product, a product or service that we owned, or it was a client's product or service. And we essentially broke that down into its components, figured out roughly what it was, how it was made, got some ideas about it, and then we started defining the market. The next thing we did was, in week 2, is we went to the market and actually for the pain. And that's where Russell took us through a great journey where he showed us how to look at the market from a different perspective, where we start looking at how people think, what are the pains, what are the things that drive them, what are the pains behind the pains, what are the questions they should be asking. And from that we extracted some keywords. Okay. So then what we did next was we went to Kraken and we drilled out all your themes. And some of you guys, they gave me your keywords, they've got your keyword back, and typically depending on the market you're entering into, we found roughly, with the Poseidon process, we found roughly between, I'd say, 15 and maybe up to 25 themes. I know one of the guys' themes brought back a lot of content, so he got a nice big drill done for him. So once we've done that, we've gone through Kraken, we actually analyze the market, and what we're looking for there is, okay, where is the actual traffic, and what keywords are people using to actually find what they're looking for? and from that we could see the theme, and then we can actually start positioning and structuring the silo architecture of our site. So that took us to week 3. Okay, so in week 4, this is where we start actually setting up our site. So we go and buy a domain, we actually install WordPress, we get WordPress set up, we start installing the basic plugins, which we call components, we start getting it all set up and working right, and then from there we hop across to DWS, and this is where we map out our site structure. So in DWS last week we went through it and we spoke about the business decision screen, where we actually started putting our business metrics into the actual application. We've imported our keywords in and then mapped out our silo structure pretty quickly. So your homework for last week was to get 1 silo up. Can you guys give me a 1 if you actually got your website up and the silo up, and 2 if you've not got there yet? Okay, so it seems like all you guys have been pretty busy then. Okay, so you've not got your silo up yet, right? So is it just because work and life came into play, or was there any bottlenecks? If there's any bottlenecks or questions you guys had about mapping out your silo and getting the XML out from DWS to import it, could you fire a few questions across if you got stuck, or give me a 1 if you just have been too busy to get back to the course, just so I can get some bearings here. Okay. Neil, did you get your keyword results? I responded via the help desk and I uploaded the keyword data set for the tax keywords. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, shame, Tim, you swamped. Tim is doing both the courses at the same time, so he's been going full speed at the moment.
And he's been doing
Neil,
pretty well at
that.
both.
Yeah. Neil, I'll get back to you with regards to those keywords. Okay, you've done your drills, they're all done. Okay, cool. I'll get onto that. I didn't get that message. Okay, so it seems like you guys are very busy. So basically the process, as you can see over here, I was going to zoom out slightly. Let's get this better. Were you guys clear on how we mapped the size out in DWS last week? And were you clear on how we chose our keywords? Yeah, let's start with that question. When I showed you how I mapped out the site in DWS last week, and we spoke about SASE and the core services that they've done, and we used those to map out the keywords, was that part and that process clear to you? Are you guys happy with it? Can you give me a 1 if you understood that and you're able to do it? Okay, excellent, cool. And when you're selecting your keywords from Kraken and you're actually building up your story, were you guys clear on how we chose those keywords? In the guys I've spoken to so far, I sort of gave that analogy where we're trying to map out the index of a book, and it's the index of a story. And the keywords that we select are the ones that have value to our business, but also have the potential to bring in enough traffic. Okay. Tim, you're saying you'd like more examples. What would you like to see, just so I can be clear? Okay. Are you speaking about more examples in DWS, or are you actually speaking about sites with silo structures? Tim, could you just clarify for that for me, please? Okay. An e-commerce site, a national site, and a local medical site. Okay, I don't have any local medical sites. Okay, here's my sandbox site. Okay, just open this up here. I'll show this for now. This is a site that we mapped out yesterday, last week, and this is where we mapped out our hair, our wedding, our makeup. There's our silos there. When we click on hair, the DWS plugin builds out our structure, and you can see it maps out and it mirrors what we imported in DWS. Okay, so between the two sites, Sorry, that's the wrong one. Here we can see the silo structure getting mapped out. Okay, so if I click onto hairstylists, what it gives us is hairstylists. Okay, there's a silo and there's our category, hairstylists. And that's just the category we added last week. So I'm going to open up the SASE site here quickly because that's a real world site. I don't have sites that you're asking for term like dental attorneys, etc. So what I'll be looking at is a real business. This is SASE. Typically this website, this is the live one that the guys use, and they get all their contacts online from this. With this site, we focused a lot on the wedding silo. We got that mapped out. We pumped that out quite nicely in the site. We've given the guys nice images to see. We've got our Facebook feed streaming right into the site. We've got 1,300 real people liking it. Now, what we've done here for this one is all we've done with the keywords we targeted is we've actually mapped and we've targeted specific keywords throughout the industry. So if we look at the wedding silo, you can see we've got a /wedding. Okay, this is our wedding page. And here's our categories, and this is where we started implementing the persuasion layers into it. So in the wedding silo, we're talking about planning the perfect wedding, okay? And in this whole story, we're speaking to the fear that the ladies have. But because it's a business site, we couldn't say worst wedding hair nightmares, okay? What we had to do is be a bit more professional, and the client wanted to have the site very black and white, very professional and specific to what they do. They don't want to do much fear mongering and all that kind of stuff. So what we did here was, under the wedding silo, we used things like ensuring your bridal hair is perfect. Professional makeup artists make the difference. Professional wedding makeup results. And what we're doing here is when we're stacking the story, we're starting with the hair, because we know from this business's perspective, when we get one bride in, we get the bridesmaids and other parts of the family, like the mother of the bride, maybe the bridegroom's mom as well will come and they'll get their hair done. So from a commercial perspective, getting one bride in essentially leads up to like 6 or 7 different clients. And if the whole process goes very smooth and everybody's super satisfied, typically those brides will come back, but the bridesmaids will come back as well. And we start getting the recurring income coming off these clients. So what we did with SASE was, when we targeted the wedding market, we focused on wedding hair, okay, and bridal hair. These are the things that we wanted. And we spoke about the look. We spoke about developing a relationship with the stylist. We said, does your hairstyle suit your dress? We gave social proof of ladies. Now these images get clicked a lot, and we made them small on purpose so that the people can actually click on it. And these are some of the clients that Sarah and Samantha have had go through the doors. So for example, there's a lady, that's one of the mother of the brides. So you can see at the event, they're actually doing the stuff, and in the site, there's a lot of visual images showing off the look and the feels, okay. So yeah, you can see pictures taken. Now, as we're moving through the process, sorry, I've just got one down here. That's professional makeup. Yeah, we introduced the makeup style, and there's Sarah. She's doing the makeup on one of the models for a photo shoot. Here's some other looks and feels that she's done. What we've done essentially with the whole look and feel of the site is when we designed the silo structure, we focused on the important keywords, and we only were interested in those. And those were basically weddings, bridal hair, professional makeup, wedding hairstyles, and wedding hair and makeup. Those 5 keywords were shown to us in Kraken as being the keywords that had the highest TSMV, the most searches, they had a good co-occurrence, and the cost per clicks were pretty high on those ones. So those indicators helped us select those specific keywords. So in DWS, when we mapped them out and we went to the wedding silo, so I'll open it up there. When we hover over it, we can sort of see the revenue per month. So bridal hair is worth 24 grand a month to SASE, okay, at a minimum based on the commercials. Professional makeup is worth like 3 grand, wedding hair makeup 1,700, and a lot of these keywords are all local based around the Port Elizabeth area. Okay, that's what we're focusing on. So in our structure, we're structuring it as national, but because the competing pages are so low, the geo-targeted stuff, we can actually bring it into the actual copy. And this is where we have small call to actions at the bottom of the page: call us at this place, or come see us at our salon. We drop the actual locales into the copy. If it was a bigger place, more competing pages, stiffer, then we'll actually start introducing the URL with the actual local keyword. Okay. Typomat suite should be suit. I'm not sure where you saw that, Brian. Okay, so are you guys clear how I did this? Yes, Bill, this is a local site, and the reason why we consider it a local site is we focus mainly in the Port Elizabeth area, and when we set up our Google Places dashboard, the business dashboard, we specifically told them we're targeting Port Elizabeth. We're busy setting up some AdWords campaigns for this as well, and we're also targeting that area. So because in Google everything's connected, that all helps because they can sort of see and they understand through analytics and through our website structure and through what we're telling them what we're targeting. Okay, so we are only focused on basically an area of about, I'd say, 100 miles. That's the zone that they would work in, and that covers maybe 3 or 4 towns that they're prepared to drive to. Otherwise, it doesn't become cost effective. Okay, so for a local site, for a local business, we've not gone really hard into embedding the locales into the URLs. Okay, and that's just purely because the competing pages are so low and the competition is so stiff. When we look at some of the competitors, they've only got a domain authority of 18 or 15. I think the highest domain authority is 24 as one of the main competitors. So it's not hard to actually get the site ranked and have it take up most of the space. Okay, so what we wanted to have you guys get done was set up your first silo, set it up so we can actually come, and then I can actually start looking at your site and seeing how you're mapping it all out. So it would be great if by next week we could at least have one silo up, guys. Even it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be split and polished. We just want to have the site live, because when the site is live, that means those pages can get indexed. That means analytics can get turned on. That means you start getting feedback of if people are actually hitting our site. Okay, that means we can turn on webmaster tools. We can find any technical issues, and it also means we can actually turn on AdWords if you want to use AdWords and start driving specific campaigns. So, for example, we're coming to summer, so what we want to do now is we're going to focus again on the wedding silo and use that to drive most of the traffic. Now, what's interesting is with the site, when we've got it up, most of the contacts that we get, there's 2 things that people are looking for when they're contacting Sassy through the website, and that is for hair extensions and it's for weddings. Those are the only 2 things Sassy is being contacted for, which is quite interesting. The rest of the traffic that they get is walk-in traffic or word-of-mouth traffic, which is specifically for hair, and that traffic is generated through interest through Facebook. Okay, so what the ladies are doing is they're using Facebook to promote all this stuff. For example, love this cut. Think Sarah's new cut to be. This is Sarah's sister Samantha, is a stylist. She's basically convincing Sarah to get this look and feel for herself for the next. So they can see Sarah, she's got quite long hair. They want to make her hair look like that. But it's interesting how we're taking all these elements and putting them together and utilizing the silo structure and the keywords from Kraken to map out that grain of gold of where the traffic flows. So you can see I've not made a huge site, but I've only focused on the keywords that are relevant to the product, to the brand, and to the company. It's the keywords to the core services that they focus on. I typically always start with those, and then once we get the site running over a while, we can start seeing, okay, are we getting interest from other avenues? So this is an example of how I've put Sassy's site together, and with the site, the guys are booked full till February next year with weddings and stuff already. So does that answer your question, Tim? Does that sort of give you an idea of how we bring the site together and how we utilize the keywords we got from Kraken to map out the index of our services and products, and then how we start applying the persuasion layer. Now if Russell did the persuasion on the site, it would probably be 100 times better because he's a master at doing this. I've come from a very technical market analysis, silo architecture point of view, and I've been learning a lot from Russell through what he's been teaching us. And what we're going to do now is we'll start refining these things and pushing the buttons a bit more to, in our anchor text, use different words to define what we want. Okay, so you can see here we've got weddings, but we don't have bridal hair, professional makeup, wedding hairstyles. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking at the actual URL when I'm hovering over these, wedding hairs and makeup services. What we're actually trying to do, once we've got our silos mapped out in DWS, like we've done here, that's what they come out originally. We come back to the site and we start applying a persuasion layer, and we start stacking the stories so that when a person looks and they read that, it actually starts making sense for them, and it speaks to the pains that they have. So if we think about the market personality, typically these are the females we're targeting between the ages of 25 and 35. These ladies, when they're getting married, what's the thing they fear about the most? It's their hair. It's how they look. It's what people think about them. It's about the memories they're going to have in those days. So how do we take those pains and those fears that they have and get the product and the services that we offer, and how do we mold them together? And this is our first attempt at saying, ensuring your bridal hair is perfect. So we know that they want their hair to be perfect, but we tell them we can ensure that it's right. And how do we do that? We tell them we're going to be there on the day. We show them images of proof. Look, this is the end result. Okay, so there we can see the lady getting worked on. We tell the story about the hair, the dress, the bridesmaids. This is how do we ensure my bridesmaids' hairstyles complement me 100%. Get them into the salon so we can do them as well. So we're using all the persuasions and the different type of things over here. We're using the imagery to reinforce visually, because a lot of women are visual. Facebook, they look at pictures all day long. They're making comments. Oh, that's nice. We like this. We like that. We're using all those type of things to convince them to contact us. Now the whole point of this site for Sassy is lead generation. All we want the people to do is to phone or fill in the form to request a booking or to find out if we can actually do a service for them. That's the sole purpose of this actual website. It's nothing else. We're starting to consider doing e-commerce, so that may come out in future courses, but we're not there yet. We're still investigating the hair extensions market, as well as finding out what products we can actually sell online from the suppliers. So there's a whole process we have to go through before we actually can go and research the market and find out what we need to do. So Tim, does that answer your question? This is a real-world website that I can actually use, which is a business. It's a brick-and-mortar business. They make their money. They're trading. It's not a fake website. You can walk into a salon tomorrow and get a haircut. This is a real-world example I can actually show you. Some of the other sites that I work on, I can't show those just because they're in markets that I make money out of. And there's also NDAs for some clients that we've worked with where we can't expose what we've done for them as well. Okay. Okay, so Lionel, you got a question here. I'm not clear on the competition. How do we know if we can rank for the keywords we choose? Lionel, typically the way I go about starting with that is I look at the domain authority. Now, when we did your drill in Kraken, that zip file I've sent to you has screenshots of all the keywords we've drilled into, and we've actually taken a snapshot of the white papers. I just want to get a drink of water quick. Now, when you look at the white paper, it's going to give you the domain age. It's going to give us the URL that's ranked. It's going to give us the page authority, the page rank, and it's going to show us what position they're ranked for. Now, typically when you're looking at your competitors, and if the DA is under, say, 30, it's not going to be that hard to get ranked for. If you apply the basic stuff that Jimmy's shown us in Traffic Hospital, in the domain authority stacking course, you apply those principles to your site. And if you set up your social rings and everything that we're teaching you in this course, you will get ranked for that keyword. It will not be a hard job. All you got to do is write your blog articles, and promote your site, and then let it feed out through Social Explosion, let it run out through the one feed, let it run out through all the social channels that you have set up, and get the word out. You're pushing everything downstream, and it's all going to come upstream back to you. It's traffic and people. Okay, so how do we know if you can deal with the competitors? If you start getting to things like between the 30s and the 50s, there's going to be some work. You're going to have to work really hard. If it's like, say, 50, 55 plus, and you start looking at the 70s and the 80s, you're going to have to start building a whole solid network around getting ranked for those keywords. There's a lot of work, and typically our certification helps you deal with those competitive, hard, difficult terms. If you're not if you're new to SEO, I would sort of walk away from those heavy terms, and I'll try and find a different route into the market. Remember, when you're looking at your market, the subset that we've drilled into, the keywords that you gave me that have drilled you into Kraken, those are just our initial ideas. We've just taken a cross-segment of the actual market where we've drilled down the vertical, and then we've taken our supporting article keywords, and we've drawn horizontally across to see where these keywords fit within the vertical. Now, if it's too competitive, you can go down the vertical and get more niche and get more closer to your keyword, and you probably find that it might become less competitive. Or you've got to try and think of a different word that the market personalities potentially could use to describe what they're looking for. Okay, so from competitive, if you take 100, chop it up in threes, anything under 33%, it's not a problem. Anything between 34, 55, 60, you got your work cut out. Anything over 60, or even from 50s up, you're going to have to start really thinking carefully about what you want to do. Does that answer your question, Lionel? Does that help you clarify what you're dealing with when you're thinking about competitors? Okay, excellent. Cool. So, guys, mapping out, I did the, with DWS, we can map our sites radically fast. Like, I've got a video where I show you how I map out a whole site and I build a whole website using the DWS plugin. We do it in less than 10 minutes. We actually get the whole site built, and it's up and live. So getting the site up and live is really easy. Have you guys, can you give me a one if you've ever actually used the DWS Silo importer plugin and actually imported the XML and seen the site structure get mapped out? Can you give me one if you have, or two if you haven't? Okay. I was going to show you guys quickly how we do that. I'm hopped back into my sandbox. This is my sandbox domain, Web Development UK. This is where I test everything. So what I'm going to show you guys is the plugins. I've been playing with a new little botnet attack plugin. It's quite nice. I like this. This is for the guys trying to hack and brute force into accounts. It works quite well as well. But what we've installed here, okay, is the any deep silo site builder. This is the latest version, okay, and you'll see it over here, any silo builder. Now, I was going to quickly take you through this. When we set this up, we've got the menu heading, and I've got navigation written in over here. That refers to that heading over there. So you can make it whatever you want, okay, and it'll get set up over there. The next thing we want to do is we can use the manual silo builder. Internet's a bit slow today. And this is where you can actually go and drag and drop and move things around, okay? But the way this works is if you just want to add 3 silos, you can just type in keyword, keyword, keyword. And it's all spaced, okay? You click add new and they'll get added as silos. If we want to nest them, you essentially select where you want them nested, you add your keywords, you press add new, and they get dropped in underneath as silos. And you can set them to be published or as draft. Okay, so that's the manual builder. And that gives us silos and categories. And typically when we're building out our blog for the WR1 framework, the blog typically mirrors the silos of the WR1 Money site. So if your WR1 Money site has silos and categories, then your WR1 blog, the broadcast part of the setup, okay, will only copy the silos. So in the real world example, Sassy's blog will be hair, wedding, and makeup. Those are the three categories we're going to actually set up on the actual blog. Russell, can you confirm if the plugin for the blog is actually released yet, or is it still in beta? Because we've been developing a plugin specifically just for the blog, guys.
Hi guys, I know you've been, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I know you guys have been, we've been talking about it for a while. I've got all three of the updated versions here on my desktop, and really they were supposed to be released last week, but we came across a little bit of a hitch on the breadcrumbs. So we've rebuilt all the plugins from the ground up. And to answer your question, I'm super hopeful that we'll have it released in the next 7 days, depending upon when the coders deal with our final semantic shift change.
Okay, that's cool. Excellent. Okay, so guys, it's very near, and this is going to make it super easy, because when we bought our blogs, we're essentially going to use the blog version, and that's going to map out the blog so that the blog is configured and working properly. So these plugins save you hours of time, because if you have to manually go and create a silo architecture in WordPress, it is a pain in the ass. Excuse the language, but it is. It's a lot of futzing around. You've got a whole bunch of little plugins you've got to put together. You've got to have short codes, and you've got to mix and match. With any silo builders, it's just a piece of cake. We just hoover in the XML and bang, the whole structure, everything is set up for you instantly. So to import stuff, we go to Silo Importer, guys. Now, what you need to do is you need to have the category / post name set up, and it's got to be active in your htaccess. So this checks for us, and it gives you a warning. Okay. Now, typically, when you set this up, you can either set it up as publish when you import everything in. So if you've created the site structure in Mini-Me, then I would suggest keeping everything in draft mode and publish as you're ready, because what's going to happen is when you import the XML from Mini-Me, there's no content associated with it. Okay, it's just going to be the raw XML, the raw silo architecture framework. It's just going to be the raw structure with the keywords. So what we're going to want to do there is leave it on draft. Now, to add the silo shortcode into the content body, what that's going to do is going to actually put the parent theme. So if we're on the index page, we'll have wedding, hair, and makeup in the actual copy, in the body. Okay? So that'll look something like, actually it's not here. I'll edit that page and I'll put it on. But that's what a shortcut would do, is if you turn it on every single page, it'll put the shortcut. So I recommend leaving this off for now, and under settings, we can actually go and grab the shortcode, which is this one here. You can show the top 10 links. If you want to have the excerpts, you use this shortcode here. Just copy it, paste it, drop it into the page. And if we come here, we click edit. Wrong one. Let's just go to here. So then quickly edit this here. Stick that in there. I'm going to save this. Okay. Now, what's going to happen is when we drop that shortcode in like that, if we had 10 silos, it would show us 10 silos. So you can see here, we've got home. Let's put up makeup. Let's put up hair with an excerpt, wedding with an excerpt. So what's nice about that is if you want some links contextually in your actual page, you can drop those links in the middle, at the top, at the bottom of your page. You can actually stick it in the copy body. So where all your content is, you can actually drop those links, and they will come up like that. Now, the next thing we're going to look at here on the silo importer is browse. Okay. All we do here is we go to our blueprint. This is the XML file that we've opened up. You point to it, you click open, and you'll click import. I'm not going to import it now because we did it last week and all the structure's there. But I want to show you guys the advanced settings. Okay, if you're bringing stuff from the Mini-Me, the light version of DWS, and you bring it in, make sure that everything is set to primary keyword. Okay, when it's all set to primary keyword, that brings in the raw structure. If you want to change the titles, you can change the titles to the page title node or the actual article headline. You can choose this. This is if you use DWS Pro. You can bring in, you can change the node to use different things when you actually build out your site. Okay, so guys, be clear on this. Can you give me one if you understand how to use the silo importer? It's pretty basic. Set it to draft, add your silo code off, point to your XML file. If using mini-me, set everything to primary keyword, press import, and what that does is it goes and creates all the pages and all the categories for you. Okay, so Brian, I'm going to answer your question now shortly. That's I'll just have a read it. Once we've imported it in, guys, what you can see is we've got the home, makeup, and we've got the categories indented. Hair, categories indented. With the plugin, what you want to make sure is that the category name and the page name are always identical. What happens sometimes is if guys come in and actually change the category name and they don't change the slug on the actual page, that keyword or that page disappears. Okay, so what you want to do is just make sure if you're going to change things at the category level, make sure that the slugs match both times. Okay, that's just one of the little things we have to watch for. Now, the way this works, right, with the pages, when we created the plugin, our silo landing pages and our categories are pages, and our posts, while supporting articles in DWS, are actual posts. Okay, we've done this because we want the top level keywords, the silos and the category keywords, we want them to sit in the internet for long. Okay, and if we use posts for everything, posts are typically known as news, and they've got a life cycle or lifespan on them, and they last for like 45 days or 60 days. It's somewhere in the ranges there. They're changing it around all the time. But typically those pages don't stay up long unless they're popular. If they're not that popular, they've got a lifespan and they basically die. If you give them a boost, they'll come back in. So this is why when we designed the silo architecture, we used pages instead of categories and posts. Okay, so you got the silo, it's a page, the category is a page, and then the supporting article becomes a post of the actual category page. And that's how we create the silo structure for WordPress. Okay. You guys clear on that? You understand how that's all connected together? If you can just give me a 1, just want to make sure that you guys are all clear on that. And you're clear that if you change a category in the category section, you need to make sure that the slug on the actual page is the same as the category slug. And I'm just going to click edit this hair care quickly and I'll show you. You want to make sure that that there is identical to the page's hair care slug. Pages, hair care. Let's just look at this one here, quick edit. The slugs must always be identical. Okay. Let me just look at Brian's question quickly. He said, what is the latest recommendation for subdomain name for our blog? blog.domainname.com or news.domain. Sometimes partial keywords in subdomain could make sense, but has to fit with the brand identity and targeted keywords. Brian, I'd leave that totally up to you guys. I typically, I would just use blog or news. I don't, with the blog, I don't typically put keyword specific things in there. So I think it's more up to you. Does that answer your question? I typically go with the blog.domainname.com. That's what I go with because people know they're reading the blog. It's just like standard across the web. So I don't try and make it like, let's just think hair extensions dot sassy, because then the keyword sort of narrows the whole scope of that actual blog. Whereas if you just use blog, we can go wide. We can use more categories in the actual blog to segment our market more clearly. Okay. When you speak of lifetime of posts, are you talking about Google's view on things or a WordPress thing? Brian, that's the lifetime of posts is a Google thing. Typically, we've seen that with blog posts, when you're just using a purely category and post, they don't stay ranked for very long. They do tend to start dropping off after a while as more recent news creeps into that sector, that market. Whereas if you use pages, pages are typically, they don't have a lifespan on them. There's not like a time default set on them. Brian's asking, are they looking at the date or meta info on from WordPress? To be honest, Brian, I don't understand it to that extent, to that depth. Just in my 5 cents, in my grey matter, I think it's from the time they actually index that page. They must somehow they know it's a post. There must be something that they get from the WordPress installed to know if it's a post or page. They've got some way of differentiating between the two. I'm not sure what that actually is, to be honest. Okay, cool. So guys, that's how we bring the silo structures together. So it's really easy. If you think it's a very complex process, we've taken all the hard work out of it. When we look at this website here and we click onto hair, what you're going to notice here in the navigation is that the wedding and the makeup silos disappear, and we've dropped into the silo container. So this block here, that's our silo structure, and it's specific to hair. And these links all link to the keywords either above or below them. So we're running up and down the silo. We're not running across the verticals. Can you link across from, say, latest trends and link to something in hair? In wedding? Yes, you can if it's relevant to your business. Remember, user experience trumps technical silo design. We need to always think, okay, what is going to create the best path for the user to get them to transact with us? Now, from a technical point of view, we don't want to be linking across between silos because that creates theme bleeding. And also, we don't want to have categories. And I'll show you quickly in WordPress. If we go to appearances, menus, and we're setting up our structures. Let's just say, for example, we have those. I'm going to add them to the menu. Okay, so let's nest them under here. And we just save that menu quickly. When I refresh this page, under makeup, we've got this drop-down menu. This is called theme bleeding. These drop-down menus cause problems with your themes and actually cause your theme to bleed, which means that that specific silo will be harder to rank with this drop-down menu than it would be if we actually took it out. So we don't want to have these keywords exposed across all the silos at any point in time. Okay, so in your top navigation bars, try and avoid using these type of drop-down menus. Okay, you guys get that? Okay, let me just change it back quickly, get rid of those. Okay, so save that. Okay, so I'm going to refresh this page. That's that done there. Yeah, it's gone. So the only thing that is consistent across the whole site, guys, when you're actually setting up your silo architecture is your top level silos. And the reason why we leave these exposed all the way is, one, we want to give the user the fastest way to get to the main categories of our site, okay? And two, when the search engines are indexing, they can just drop into any of these containers and they can follow them, and the whole site gets indexed much easier because these connect. The silo keywords and the index page is essentially the golden thread that weaves the whole site together. Okay, now what else can I tell you about this? Oh yes, when we got supporting articles, what you'll find is when we drop into actual haircuts, if there was supporting articles, we would have hair, haircuts, and then we have the siblings of haircuts nested down here as well, okay? So they'll actually get exposed, and we can then see how everything's connected, okay? So if we look at the domain authority, how it falls down to the pages, it comes through the index, through the silo, down the silo, the site structures. If we've got supporting articles, it flows down through haircuts and then down into the supporting articles. And these supporting articles are like mini nested silos. It's a silo within a silo. And when we're finding keywords are hard to get ranked for, okay, it's typically easier to add more content to boost that keyword than it is to go do a huge backlinking campaign. With Jimmy's DAS stuff, that also makes it much easier. But if the topic's big, I often recommend to the guys expand it and tell a bit more about the story and use those opportunities there to get ranked for more keywords that have traffic associated with them. But in the beginnings, guys, most of the sites that I do, I start off with a silo, I then build out my categories. I get it live, I get it indexed, and I watch how they move their rankings. That feedback loop I get from the results then helps me determine what is the next thing that I need to do. Am I going to do a domain authority stack? Am I going to write more content for the site? Those are the things, the ideas and the questions I start asking myself based on how I'm seeing things coming through the rankings. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this where you're looking at your ranking report and there's almost a graph, like a line graph, and you see the line graph going up and down and it almost makes like a big W where it's bouncing up and down, up and down. It's not moving through that band. So let's just say it's sticking around about 200 and 150. It's bouncing around those areas. Typically when it does that, you can either do a dash stack and boost it, or you can add a few more articles as supporting articles speaking specifically about haircuts. So under haircuts here, let's go back to DWS and look at that. So we're going to go to hair. We're going to select haircuts. I'm actually going to filter this first. Let's do haircuts. The keyword filter in DWS is a wildcard. It's like. So if I just type in haircuts, anything that contains haircuts in it or haircut is going to basically show us those keywords. So we've got none there. So let's go back to hair. Hair accessories, style, straightening, weave. Okay, there's a few we can use there. So I'll come to hair. I'll go to haircuts. I want to speak about weaves, hair straightening, hair accessories. That's fine. And I'm going to shift those into my blueprint. So what I always check is, okay, cool, I've selected haircuts. That's my parent. I click move to blueprint. Okay, look at haircuts. So there I've nested some supporting articles underneath DWS. Okay. Now we've got a little red X here. Okay. And what that's indicating is that hair accessories is actually a bigger keyword than haircuts. It's got more competing keywords. Okay. The competing pages. It's a bigger keyword. So we've got 178,000 versus 61,000 pages phrase match. What you can do is you can either leave it there, or you can create its own subsection, so you can move the hair accessories under hair. Okay, so if you want to do that, guys, go to Manage Blueprint. We're going to click on our supporting articles. Now, there's hair accessories. What we want to do is we want to click on the little toolbox, sorry, the arrow, the green arrow, and we're going to say we're going to move it to a category, and the category falls under hair. Okay, we'll say move keyword. Now when we come back to our keyword design, and we look at hair, there we can see hair accessories, and it's no longer a supporting article of haircuts. So did you guys see how easy it is to actually map out the silo structure in DWS? Now, because it's so easy, guys, don't make the mistake and go map out 50,000 keywords. This is a problem we have with a few guys that get carried away and they try and build sites with like 10,000 pages. If you're looking to build a big site like 10,000 page sites, then get a pivot and set up a pivot, okay? Don't try and build a silo structured site using DWS for that, because it's not designed for that purpose. It's not an automated thing, okay? Plus, you've got to go and write all the content for all those nodes. So chances are that you ever finish a site are very slim. So stay focused on what you want to talk about.
And Matt,
focus on the service, focus on the product.
Matt, that's a great point. I also wanted to add for you guys, you can save up all your pent-up energy and all your nuclear detonation, your desire to do ridiculous amounts of things for certification level 3, which we call the 1 billion page club. I promise you there will be plenty of locations for you to create a 5,000 slide website with 50 million pages, okay? But go ahead and get your money site just so you start selling things quickly and don't create so much content that, you know, it's not that you can't use DWS to organize your video sites and so on and so forth. It's just, you know, we're trying to get your kick started, so Matt makes a good point. We just had somebody try to import something like 10,000 pages or something. And I know we eventually on the next version will be able to do that if you want to be crazy, but it really wasn't designed to do 10,000 pages.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you think about what we're doing here, guys, with the WR1, WRS framework, the whole design of this is at the epicenter of your whole network. This is your transaction engine, and this is your broadcasting engine. This is the heart and soul of that entire business, or that network that you're building. So the transaction engine must be clear, it must be crisp, it must be precise, and it must speak specifically to the market personality so that you can close the transaction. The more content that you add and the more you dilute things, the more confusing the experience is for the end user, and chances of them actually staying on that site is slim. You'll find that actually they'll leave because they'll just see hundreds of articles and they're like, what must I do here? Whereas when you look at Sassy, we're dealing with hair, weddings, and makeup. They click onto makeup, they get told exactly what they can get from you. Bang. It's very clear. We've got a subset of maybe 15, 20 keywords. If you go take some of the big sites, right, and you actually run them through SEMrush and you look at what the keywords are ranked for, they might be ranked for 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 keywords, but a small percentage, less than 20% of those keywords will be in positions 1 to 4. And it's those keywords that are in those 1, 2, 3, and 4 positions, they are the keywords that are driving most of the traffic into the business and potentially creating most of the transactions. And the keywords that will make the transactions are a percentage of that small subset. So there's maybe 5, 10 keywords that actually drive an entire business if you really think about it. So this is why I'm saying with your WR1s, precision, focus, find that sleeve of that sleeve of gold that runs, that vein of gold that runs all the way through a rock. You don't want all the rock. You just want that vein of gold, and you want to focus on that. That's the whole point of the WR1s, is to be specific, get in, and nail those keywords. And you'll find that what happens is your copy becomes more clearer. When you're thinking about what you want to say, it becomes easier to communicate it. When you're creating your videos, you don't have 10,000 videos to do. You just have 5. So it changes the whole vibe of the actual production mode when you're actually building the site out. Plus, you can get it to market faster, and which means you can get ranked sooner and you can start driving traffic sooner. Also, you can turn AdWords on literally an hour later after you actually got the site up and running, and you can start split testing and doing some testing like that. So, guys, I don't want to carry on next week with much more, but essentially, week 5, the homework for this week is going to be, I want you guys to import your first silo and get it on your money site. Then I want you to optimize the silo, so get your basic content. Now remember, the content, you can always change it. So write a copy, get it live, see the feedback, optimize, improve, split test, and get it better. Okay, this is a repetitive thing. This is something that happens all the time. So we map out a silo, we write our content, we do the first draft of optimization, and we get it out there into the world, and we see what actually comes to it. While we work in the second silo, creating it, doing the market research, mapping it out, importing it in, writing the content, that actual first silo may have been out there for 2 weeks, okay, but it's out there. You might be getting sales, you might be getting contacts, you might be getting leads. It's live. So I've shown you again today with DWS how easy it is to actually map out the silo structure, import into the plugin, it's there. The one thing I didn't show you guys was how to set up the site navigation. The process that I go through when I actually build up the site is 3 phases. 1, I import the XML. 2, I go to my menus and I set up my silo navigation bar, and I get rid of any categories that have slipped in to stop theme bleeding. Then 3, I come to widgets, and I drag the widgets into the navigation bar. So on my main sidebar, I've dragged the widget in, and that's all you need. Okay. So what you want to do next then is you want to go to your pages, because they're all in draft mode when you first go through this process. And this is the last step, is you want to select all your pages. You want to go to edit. Now I've just selected all, but you want to select the pages that you want to use. And I click apply. And on your templates, sometimes you have to select the sidebar template if it's not part of the default, okay? And that's what you'll do under templates. You'll select the one so you'll get your sidebar. If you don't see your sidebar navigation with the silo links, then it's usually here at the templates where you have to actually select the right template, okay? And in the status, change it to published. So if we were going to use the front page template, we'll do that, and whatever's ticked, when we click update, it's going to apply it, and it's a site-wide change that we make, and that's the site basically up and running. The next thing you want to do then is go through and refine your SEO settings. Guys, can you give me a 1 if you're clear on this part of the stage where we're actually bringing the silo in and actually setting it up? And can you guys give me a 1 if you think it's easy, or a 2 if you think it's complicated? Okay, so everyone says it's easy. So we're going to see your sites next week then, guys. Okay, cool, man. So yeah, this is where we're at. So for this homework this week, we want your first silo live. We want you to optimize your silo. You want to make sure that your site is indexable. So what you want to do is you want to go to your blog, you want to go to your settings, you want to go to, I think it's reading, and you want to turn off. If it's checked here, you want to uncheck it so that the search engines can index the site. Because this is my sandbox and I don't want the search engines indexing the site, I typically turn that on and I leave it turned off. Okay, cool. So then the next thing we want to do is in week 6, we're going to publish our first blog post. So this is why it's important that at least we get one website up, okay? We need to have one site up, and then we're going to start working on a blog next week, and then we're going to start setting up the one feed, the simple one feed version, and we're going to start broadcasting and watching how our content is moving through our WRS social platforms. That's what we're going to be doing next week. Okay, so I want to have the money site up this week with one silo at a minimum. Remember, you can always come back and add more, but we're going to have that one silo up, so at least we can make sure analytics is working when we get to week 7, and then in week 8, we're going to start watching and looking at the whole system, the whole WR1 framework up and running and working. Okay, do you guys have any questions so far for what we've gone through in the last 4 weeks?
All right, you guys, let's get some questions on this topic while we have Matt. And process today that has been fuzzy in your minds. Just think about it for a second. Now's the time to ask. Also, you know, there is coaching and all these things, but we also want to try to get as many of the things covered as we can. Anyone? Give me a 1 if you're ready to just go off and start doing this. That also happens a lot. People get all excited and they're like, we're still here talking, and they're off building a site. Okay, Bill's ready to go. Any questions? Who else is ready to go? This is enough for you today. Wow, a lot of people. Okay. That actually,
does it use a semantic theme? No, it doesn't. Not at the moment.
We are going to have
coding it into that
we're going to have Kevin rewrite that, some semantic markup for that. It is possible to use things like WP Social and others if you use them carefully as a plugin update. We just haven't got around to updating this theme yet. You got to be careful too with some themes. The other question is, should the supporting pages contextually link to the top of the silo? Um, it really depends. You can. There are some on-page rules that we talk about in Traffic Hospital. It won't be a problem. You just got to limit the number of links that you have. And you can follow. That's why we give you the option in the
Yeah.
Silo plugin. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, typically for on-page links, contextual links that are linking internally, just as a rule of thumb, for every 300 words, use one link. That's typically what I work to. It just lowers the number of links, and it helps keep the page a bit more balanced. You don't have a short article with like 5 links in it if it's like 200, 300 words. It's just too little and there's too many links. So it dilutes the power of that page.
Great. Neil, to answer your question, is the process of importing from Kraken Blueprint easier or harder than the same? It's about the same. Remember, Kraken does not go to the depth that DWS does. Kraken is a fairly shallow silo blueprint. Let me clear up a couple of confusions. There are expert certification level students who can use Kraken to build their websites in the same way that Matt is showing you with DWS Any Silo Builder. However, it's far more effective and efficient to calculate your business decisions and rules, understand, ascertain what's going on in your market, get a good sense of what it's going to take to build your links and your content. It's a superior program for building WR1s because Kraken was really designed to swallow your market whole. So the certification level 3 automaticvideotraffic.com course is going to come out where that blueprint will import directly into your silo blog for automatic video traffic, and you can build those hand over fist. Remember that the automatic blueprint, the blueprint inside Kraken is 100% automatic. You do have, well, 90%. You do have to create the silo pages, and then it'll pull in the subsets and silos. So it's really easy to import into the video plugin as well. But there's a lot you can't do the pre-planning and the pre-thinking in the same way that is your business decision rules that Matt and Sue have put in the Any Silo Builder program. So I do recommend that when you're dealing with money and figures and leads and conversion and costs, that you use Any Silo Builder. And I'm using the automatic Kraken Blueprint hand over fist to generate literally millions of pages online for video content, because that's one way you can use it. Now, the VOMA aspect of Kraken, Vertical Online Market Analysis Tool, very powerful for researching the markets and importing those keywords so you can sculpt the data as Matt has taught you inside Any Silo Builder. Okay, in other words, Kraken is great for the VOMA research. And again, feel free to test Kraken on automatic on some blogs and check it out. You'll see that it doesn't pull in the same depth. You can manually add stuff under the Kraken blueprint when it's, but Any Silo Builder has more depth. Okay, that was a great question, by the way. Is there any other questions?
Yeah, just on that question there, guys, what I typically do, well, I think for the last, how many years have I worked with you guys now, Russ? For like 5 years?
Yeah, it's been a while.
For the last 5 years, I've only used Kraken and TLKT. I've not used any other keyword tool. I've not subscribed to any other one. It's not, I'm not being biased or anything. It's just the tools are far more superior because with TLKT, we can hoover in those keywords into DWS. As well. So we have the subset of market domination, which gives us all the themes and all the veins of gold. And then with TLKT, that gives us all the filler. We're finding all the other stuff. And between those two and with Any Silo Builder, we can actually go and sculpt and really map out all kinds of things. So if you're looking for a quick start, Kraken's great for a quick start because you've got your silo and you've got a category. So if you're not sure, go with Kraken and just knock it out. You can hoover that XML file into the silo builder. So inside the plugin, we can actually pull that XML file that comes out of Kraken as well. We can hoover that in and it'll map it out for us. Everything is interchangeable, okay? If you're using any builder, you can quickly just grab those themes, map it out, and knock it together and expand on that and then hoover it in as well. So one thing I want to say is the XML that comes out of Kraken will be slightly different to the XML that comes out of DWS, just with unique IDs. And there is a chance that there may be duplicate articles written. The way the plugin is written is if an article title exists, it'll add a number 2 or 3 after it, okay, depending on how many times it's found. With DWS, when you hoover stuff in, because we've got the unique IDs of every single keyword, what happens is if that keyword ID exists, it gets ignored and it doesn't actually add it in. So that means you can re-import, as you're building your site out, you can re-import the same XML over and over and over again, and the site just expands. That's just one thing I'd watch out for if you are bringing stuff in from Kraken. Just make sure that the titles, and you bring stuff from DWS later on, that nothing gets duplicated. Nothing will be overwritten or deleted. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess.
That's right. Excellent, Matt. Thank you. Come on, guys, bring the questions. I know you've got more. That's okay if you don't. Some of you have already left to go build stuff. That's awesome. That's when you know you're doing good work, Matt. People are like, I got to go build. That's good. Okay. So, hey, let me ask my friend Brian. He is I have a personal auditor. Let me see if Brian's still here. Hang on. Brian Hassler, are you still here?
Yeah.
No.
You got too much.
I hope he doesn't. I tease him a little bit because he doesn't. He just tells me like it is, and believe it or not, that's rarer than you might think. How did you feel about today's module? And you're not on the spot. Accept totally. We believe in transparent education. That's why I'm asking you. Did you get everything that you needed out of today's module, Brian? Okay, so Brian, can I read your, not seriously, I don't want to upset you if okay. He says it's very straight ahead issue is he needs some time to learn Kraken. Yeah, Kraken's a different thing, and the import of Kraken stuff is really important. One thing I just wanted to, let me throw out give me a one if it's okay for you guys if I throw out some general differences between Kraken TLKT, DWS, and Kraken Blueprint. I think that's where the confusion, I'm going to create a little sheet. It's really, really helpful to clear that up. Okay. When you think Kraken, think phrase match. Phrase match. When you think TLKT, think broad match. Okay. When you think any silo builder, you can import, Matt, you can import Kraken, right? And you can import
everything. Kraken
TLKT.
import files, blueprints.
Mm-hmm. And so
and
when
TLKT as well.
Right, so you know those differences. And how does any silo builder deal with? What do you mean the other way around? No, it's not the other way around. So what with any silo builder, what is it that you're dealing with? Okay, like Matt, when you pull in TLKT is broad match, Kraken is phrase match. So how do we process that?
In the export file out of TLKT, there's a column that's phrase match with the phrase match data. So what we do is we utilize that, which brings everything back into sync.
Okay, good. So I want to let you guys know that.
But DWS is always phrase match.
It's always phrase match.
That's actually a good point, Dad.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring that up because some of you have seen the recent Moz thing on Rand has notified everybody. Haven't talked to him about it, but Rand's notified everybody that exact match, all exact match variables have been removed from the Google tool. Google is removing all exact match variables. Now they've been working towards that for a while. Just want to let you guys know that doesn't affect our stuff at all. And Brian, you're saying other way around. I'm not sure what you mean, but if maybe you thought that Kraken was exact match, or you thought Kraken was broad match and TLKT. Okay, but I wanted to explain the reason for that. I think it's really important for you guys to understand the power. Believe me, this has been, our suite of tools has been the most challenging things I've ever had to market, you guys, because the level of thinking that has gone into it is profound, you know, and it answers questions that the market has not even asked yet. And for years, it was answering questions that the market was not even asking, which of course is not profitable. It's now very profitable because silo structures are very popular, and semantic web is very popular. So now people are starting to go, oh, these are the tools that do that. The reason we go broad match in TLKT, I don't know if you guys knew this, but you could type in Google is my bitch, for instance. You could type it directly into TLKT, and it would actually pull back any websites that were talking about that phrase in it, or how to purchase a brand new Honda S4V 61523. I don't know if you guys knew this, but you can take that entire phrase and put it into TLKT. These are little known tips, tricks, and secrets about our technology. You cannot do that for Kraken. Okay, you cannot put how to buy a ticket to South Africa to surf with Matt DeCruz on January 15th into Kraken. You can put that into TLKT. Now what it's going to do is it's going to go out and pull the LSI based on any long phrases. So if there's common phrases or terms, it'll pull back, it'll literally extract on the LSI document any of the functional words as it relates in Bayesian algorithm, LSI, and LARI technology. What's cool about this is that you can actually scrape relationships to entire concepts. I mean, this is just a little known secret about how the tool works. Sometimes you find cool stuff, sometimes you don't. Kraken uses phrase match because we have to deal with the whole vertical theme. Okay? So, and since exact match is going away, if phrase match ever goes away, we would have to do something a little bit different. But it's really speaking to what Rand finally spoke to just last Friday. We've been doing it for years. We take the giant, huge pile of keywords, we do the pull the phrase match, and then start to deal with the derivatives on that pile of phrases. Then we do the market derivative co-occurrence, and then that gives you the general idea of the total cost of all the keywords piled into that market. Okay, now what DWS Any Silo Builder allows you to do, obviously, is to then go ahead and start sculpting that data as it relates to your product, everything that Matt's been showing you. TLKT is incredibly powerful as well because it's going to pull back LSI terms. And what I love about Any Silo Builder is the ability to have it be the defining filter, the defining focus, and cost estimation tool. And that's the way that Matt designed it, to make sure that then, okay, you've got all these keywords, and you've milked all these fresh squeezed keywords from either one of these tools based on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, but it allows you to then determine, you know, what's useful in your case with your own business decision rules. It's a really powerful and important. You can't do that in either TLKT or Kraken. There's just no.
What's cool as well. Speaking to Lionel's question with competitiveness, what keywords to choose. Some keywords are more expensive than others, so I always look at it from a money perspective. What's going to cost me to get ranked for that keyword? And the more staunch your competition is, the more investment you got to make. So with DWS, with the keyword decision grid, like Russ was saying, it gives you those metrics to quickly see where are the best places to invest for a better ROI.
Yes. So that give you guys a little bit. I know there's a lot of tools that we offer. Interestingly, Kraken Automatic Blueprint is for me the most powerful place I use it, and you're going to hear about this with the PinVid stuff. You can mill out automatic blueprints for your WR2 and WR3 network all day long. I mean, it's actually incredibly scary what we're building. And now that you guys know that in Kraken we have the number of YouTube videos, right? The reason that we put that in is because you might want to know, you know, that there's 37,000 videos about some obscure term that no one's created a video on. Well, we're pulling those videos automatically with the Video Kraken plugin. So then you can just build a blueprint. You don't really have to go through DWS Any Silo Builder for the Video Kraken sites, but I'm actually going to show you how to do that because I have an advanced Video Kraken site that you can build. The reason I like to use DWS for that is because it tells me I like to sculpt weird things. I like to find out where the money is actually going, and I use some interesting phrases in there. I'll be showing you how to use like author names. Like if you've got a site, for instance, on cancer, you can take the author name and pull it through TLKT, and you can actually find out where the most profitable author is and sort in DWS. So there's all kinds of things that you can do with that. Give me a 1 if the distinction makes sense for you guys about the two kinds of tools, and how DWS Any Silo Builder is useful on both of them, and how it's a final kind of gateway to be sure that you're meeting your business decision rules. Okay, looks like we have everybody gets that pretty clearly. All right, and just one last thing for you guys. Give me a 1 if you guys at least have your website, your blog or website, if it's HTML, uploaded already, and you've already got a buy button up somewhere, or if it's completely not up at all. 1 if you've got the site up, 2 if you do not. Forget the buy button question, that's a separate question. Okay. All right, so that's all right. You guys are doing really good, and just keep moving forward. So what's the homework assignment, Matt? Obviously, I just want to clarify.
Yeah, this week it's just to get the silos up. They have to basically get the first silo up. Sorry, wrong screen. Import their first silo into the money site. Optimize the silo. That means get the content in, tweak it so that it actually can go live. and then they've got to make sure that it's getting indexed.
Cool.
And then they start building on the next silo, and then they have to make sure that they've got the WRM blog installed and ready with a test post. They must have a test post. The reason for the test post, guys, is so that the RSS feed actually appears. If you don't have a test post, you won't see the RSS feed. It'll be blank. It won't give you anything back.
Right.
So that's what we have to do for this week.
Okay, good. I think we're pretty good. Guys, thank you so much. This has been a fantastic session. I'm going to go ahead and process this and upload to the members area, and then I'll drop it inside the Skype group. Hey, Matt, thanks so much for all of the amazing coaching. And there's so many testimonials coming in at this point for you helping people that I just kind of have a pile sitting on my desk because I can't get them all up quickly.
No worries about that.
So, but you know, I didn't really expect that you were going to be such an awesome coach, but you're really like breaking the records. So I didn't know like you were this good. So I really am blown away. And yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for.
Cheers, thanks.
Yeah. All right. So thanks, everybody. We're going to go ahead and finish this up. I will see you on the next webinar next week, where we'll move on. If you could also, for homework, kind of move ahead a little bit into week 6 and prepare for what we're going to be talking to you about then. And then we'll see you in the Skype group.
Yeah, week 6 is one feed, guys. So we did, if the guys in Tech 2, you did the advanced version. Week 6 this week, next week's going to be basically the implementation of it. So I want to actually take you guys through it.
Yes.
And show you what's going on.
Yes, Matt did an excellent presentation yesterday for certification level 2. And it'll be good to get both of you guys, you guys who are actually auditing both courses at the same time. We can talk a little bit about differentiating those. I want to make sure that you understand the difference between those. All right, guys, we'll see. Russell Wright, Matt DeCruz, Network Empire. We'll see you on the next webinar. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot. Thanks, guys. See you soon, eh?